another day, another Black artist being plagiarized. It's exhausting to even have to say that out loud again, but here we are. Every few months it feels like deja vu. A new music video drops, the visuals look suspiciously familiar, fans do some digging, and suddenly we realize that yet another Black creator's work has been borrowed, reinterpreted, or flat out copied without credit. And what's worse, the backlash always seems to fall on the wrong people. Instead of holding the actual creative teams accountable, the conversation derails into fandom wars, racist comments, and selective outrage. And that brings us to the latest controversy, the one surrounding Soyeon and RT's music video for Damn Deity, because this situation is a perfect example of how online discussions about plagiarism, artistry, and accountability can spiral into complete chaos if we don't take a minute to separate fact from emotion. So let's do exactly that. Let's slow it down, take a clear look at what happened, who's actually responsible, and why Yseult's response matters more than some people seem willing to admit. Because this is about more than just aesthetics. This is about respect, credit, and the constant erasure of Black artistry in the global music industry. Okay, let's take a second to really break down what actually happened here, because the details matter. And honestly, the way people are talking about it online right now is all over the place. So, the controversy is centered around the music video for Damn Deity. That's the new track by RT featuring Soyeon. The issue isn't with the song itself. Musically, it's fine. The problem lies in the visuals. The entire concept, the aesthetic choices, and certain specific shots bear an undeniable resemblance to Yseult's music video for BTCH You Could Never. And when I say resemblance, I don't mean, oh, they were both wearing black and white. I mean scene-for-scene similarities that are too specific to brush off as coincidence. It's the kind of thing where, once you see the comparison side by side, it's impossible to unsee. Now, it's really important to clarify something here. Soyeon's role in this project was as a featured artist. She came in, recorded her vocals, and did her performance for the camera. She was not the director, she wasn't the producer, and she wasn't sitting in those creative meetings making decisions about the video's artistic direction. That might sound like a small detail, but it's not. It's a huge distinction when we talk about accountability and responsibility. Because here's how this usually works in the industry. The creative direction for a video, from concept to execution, is primarily handled by the director and the production company. They're the ones who build the visual world of a project, not the featured artist who's simply lending their voice. Sure, sometimes artists have input or influence, especially if they're heavily involved in their brand image, but for the most part, the person responsible for how a music video looks is the team behind the camera. So, while Soyeon is the face we see and the name attached to the track, that doesn't automatically make her the one who should be blamed for the plagiarism. The creative decisions that led to this, the similarities, the concept, the direction, those fall squarely on the shoulders of the director and the production team who approved it. That said, context still matters, because this isn't the first time Soyeon's name has been attached to a plagiarism controversy. Back in 2022 with her song Sun, she did face allegations and ultimately took responsibility for the similarities, issuing a public apology. So I completely understand why, for a lot of people, this situation feels like part of a pattern. It triggers that sense of deja vu, like, wait, didn't something like this already happen before? And that's a fair emotional response. People are tired of seeing the same stories repeat themselves, and it's easy to project past situations onto new ones. But we still have to take each case for what it actually is. In this instance, Soyeon's involvement appears to be limited to the musical side, not the visual production. That's why it's crucial we direct our criticism toward the actual source of the problem, the people and systems that allowed this to happen in the first place, not just the artist whose name happens to be attached to it. You know what's actually been the most powerful part of this entire situation? Yseult's response. The way she spoke out, raw, direct, and completely unapologetic, was honestly everything this industry needs to hear. She didn't just point out that the two videos look alike. She didn't stop at saying, hey, this looks a little too similar to my work. No, she called out the system behind it, the larger ongoing pattern of Black artists, and especially Black women, being copied, disrespected, and erased in the very spaces that thrive off their innovation. Yseult's statement was incredibly honest. She wrote, "Bitch You Could Never isn't just a title, it's a statement. I've built a world that was never meant to be protected, a world criticized, ignored, and pushed aside because being a Black alternative pop woman scares the system." That alone tells you the kind of uphill battle she's had to fight just to be seen and respected for her work. She created something authentic to her, something that represented a side of Black artistry that doesn't always get celebrated in mainstream spaces. And now, to see that very vision lifted, replicated, and credited elsewhere, it's not just insulting, it's painful. She went on to say, "Now I'm watching artists copy my music video shot for shot with zero credit and zero respect. And the irony? I wrote the song about artists copying me. Well, I guess when you go global, the thieves go global too, right?" That line, "When you go global, the thieves go global too." That one hit hard, because it's not just about one instance of plagiarism. It's about how the global entertainment system keeps exploiting Black creativity while pretending it's something brand new. And she didn't stop there. She called it like it is. Let's be real. The K-pop industry, like many others, has been draining Black culture like a vampire for decades. Sampling our sound, stealing our moves, wearing our skin like a costume, profiting from our pain while erasing our names. And I mean, is she wrong? And this is where we really need to talk about the ugliest part of this whole situation, the reaction. Because what's been happening online since Yseult spoke up has been nothing short of disgusting. Instead of engaging with what she said, instead of talking about the plagiarism or the very real issues she brought up, a section of the K-pop fandom decided to turn it into a full-blown racist meltdown. And it's the kind of thing that makes you sit back and wonder, how are people still like this in 2025? Yseult called out a valid issue. She stood up for herself, for her art, for her culture. And what did she get in return? A flood of racist comments. People mocking her looks, belittling her talent, twisting her words, using slurs, spreading misinformation just to discredit her. It's vile. It's dehumanizing. And it completely derails the real conversation. Let's be absolutely clear about this. You cannot, in good conscience, consume music and culture that are deeply rooted in Black innovation, the sound, the rhythm, the style, the fashion, the language, and then turn around and attack a Black artist for calling out the theft of her own work because that makes you a hypocrite. Criticizing plagiarism is fair. Defending your favorite artist is fine, as long as it's done respectfully and with facts. But responding to a Black woman's pain with racism? That doesn't make you a loyal fan. It makes you part of the problem she's talking about. It literally proves her point about the lack of respect and the silencing that Black artists face globally. And let's be honest, that kind of racist behavior doesn't help Soyeon or any idol involved at all. If anything, it makes things worse. It paints the fandom in a toxic light and drags the artist's name through the mud alongside it. Because when people see those racist comments, they don't separate the fans from the fandom. They associate that ugliness with everyone. So, if your first instinct when a Black person speaks up about their work being copied is to insult their skin, their body, or their art, you need to stop, step away from your phone, and do some serious self-reflection. Because that's not protecting your idol. That's you being a dumb and brainless idiot. So, what should happen now? First and foremost, the people who actually made the video need to respond. The director and the production company need to publicly address Yseult's claims. A genuine apology is the bare minimum. Ideally, they would enter into a conversation with Yseult about proper credit and potentially even compensation. That's how you handle plagiarism. You acknowledge it, you apologize, and you make it right with the original creator. For fans, the solution is to be smarter and more ethical in our responses. Support Soyeon by hoping she and her team are more careful about the production companies they collaborate with in the future. Advocate for her to work with directors who value originality. And for heaven's sake, if you want to defend her, do it by focusing the criticism on the actual decision makers, not by launching racist attacks on the woman whose work was copied. Ultimately, this is a moment for learning. It's a chance for the industry to do better and for fans to be better. Because real support doesn't mean blindly defending every action. It means demanding an environment where your favorite artist can thrive without being entangled in plagiarism scandals, and where all artists receive the respect they deserve. Accountability over excuses, respect over racism, it's really that simple.